Good morning, friends. Welcome to that 1870s Homestead. My name's Rachel, and I thought over the next few days I'm going to bring to you guys kind of a pre-gardening morning chat with me about kind of my top 5 things I would think about when I'm planning a garden. And my brain's just been noodling over these things because I know it can be overwhelming when you're first starting and you're wanting to grow all the things. But how do you pick for your family the most important things to grow? Hold on a second. It's still morning. I just woke up. Let's have a sip of coffee. Okay. So today's session is going to be on what would I pick personally. Now, listen to what I say and apply that to your family's needs or your own thought process. That either would be like the most versatile, the crops that I can do the most with the intention on truly saving my family money when it comes to groceries. So let's start there. And I think the next two will be kind of like the highest yielding crops that you could plant that will like put the most produce either in your freezer or on your pantry shelves, freeze dried at whatever your means are to preserve your food. And then lastly, it would be if you're like me and you got into growing your own food because of the commercial food industry and how dirty it is, meaning the pesticide use and the chemicals, and vice versa. Looking at the cost of buying organic from the store often was an inhibiting factor of being able to make better choices. So that's really the primary reason we got into growing our own food, so that we could have good, we know, organic sourced foods. We don't spray it with anything. It's all good soil, and it's affordable then. So I want to look at kind of the, what they call it, to the dirty dozen. And I'm going to pick my top 5 out of that dirty dozen that you will see me grow, and we're going to talk about that. So those are going to be the 3 parts. Today, though, is the fun one. I like it because I do so much canning here on the homestead. We have a huge pantry. I do a ton of canning. We don't need from the store for much because of the versatility of the products I can put on my pantry shelf from the crops that I grow in the garden. So that's what I want to talk to you about today. And let's start with my favorite, I think a lot of gardeners' favorite, number 1, tomatoes. So tomatoes, beyond just fresh eating, a great BLT or a sliced tomato with salt if that's your desire. Beyond fresh eating tomatoes, the amount of items I'm able to produce from the tomatoes that I grow. And let's just say, okay, first off, I'll spend $2 on a seed packet from My Gardener of tomatoes. And in general, I'll grow 25 tomato plants. And so in general, about 25 seeds comes in a packet of seeds. And even though I buy a lot of varieties, I never exceed that $2 amount every year for my input seeds. Okay, so I am able to produce all of our spaghetti sauce, all of our salsa, chili base, like if you're making like a chili stew, ketchup, just plain tomato sauce, barbecue sauce, tomato soup. With the skins, we make our own tomato powder that is used in a lot of dishes as a thickening agent. If you think of kind of like tomato paste, you can use the skins and dehydrate them and ground them. What else do we make down there? Creole tomatoes. I've made tomato jam. I love it, just not enough family members personally love it, but it's a good savory jam. I mentioned salsa, right? Oh, green tomato curry. Green tomato salsa, so salsa verde made with the green tomatoes. If you like fried green tomatoes, you can pickle your green tomatoes in slices for fried green tomatoes. The list is endless, guys. I mean, I could probably go on and on and on about the amount of things I don't have to buy from the store. So in a high level summary, that's ketchup, barbecue sauce, chili sauce, spaghetti sauce, Creole sauce, tomato soup, just plain tomato sauce, salsas. So a ton of things that are pretty standard American diet type things that you might go and buy or buy items to make in your home. So tomatoes is my number one. And then next, just for the bulk and what you're able to harvest. And I know not everyone is as successful one garden to another. But the next one that I would pick would be berries. So strawberries, blueberries, raspberries, blackberries, whatever you could plant, and know that you may not get a good harvest this year, but the years to come, you're gonna just continue to reap that reward. Berries are so expensive at the store. So expensive. And like 1 pint of blueberries at the store, I don't even know if that little container is even considered a pint. Maybe it is, but is $6. That's crazy. Strawberries, $4 or $5, if you can even find fresh organic strawberries at the store. Now, eat them fresh all season long, definitely. When you have enough, let's talk about some of the versatility of that. So jams, of course, if you have young ones, if you yourself like to use jams, you can, of course, make all your jams and jellies. But other things to think of is your juice concentrates. So is your family a juice drinker? Do you make your own kombucha and add juice flavoring to it? Do you, I don't know, a cocktail night and you want to add flavor to it? So fruit syrups. We make a lot of fruit syrups with our fruit. So quarts of juice concentrate, pie fillings. Great addition to not only making your pies, but loading up in like a cinnamon roll filling or a hand pie. What else have we made with our fruits? We freeze dry them a lot, put them in oatmeal. So we use a lot of freeze dried fruits in our oatmeal all season long. But fruits would be another big one that I find a lot of versatility in the products that go on my pantry shelf and how I'm able to incorporate them throughout the season. Oh, ice cream topping. You talk about take yourself a little bowl of vanilla ice cream and put in a big dollop of strawberry jam and mix that in. Oh, to die for. Okay, the next one, now this one may not save you a lot of money at the grocery store, but it's worth growing your own because it stores so well. And if you have gone to the grocery store and you've bought potatoes and you've set them in your closet or your pantry, you know they don't last very long. I don't know how many times before I started gardening and you're like, what is that smell? And where is it coming from? To find out there's one rotten potato at the end of the bag that's causing all the stink. If you grow your own potatoes, They store for months and months and months if you're growing the right kind. Here, we grow Kennebecs, and I would encourage you to think about growing potatoes because of the quality that you're going to get from your own garden, how well they're going to store, and then also the versatility that that can give your family when it comes to the grocery store. So think about the potato products that you buy, or what you can do with your potatoes to add versatility to your diet and your pantry. So beyond just your standard baking potato, we put up canned potatoes so they're oven, shelf ready for mashed potatoes, potato salad, fried potatoes, oven baked potatoes, really on a really quick, fast drizzle with olive oil, salt, and pepper. Hash browns, French fries, cream of potato soup, zuppa toscana, all kinds of things that we have done. And I've even baked potatoes, put them in a Ziploc baggie when I'm doing a huge batch, and then they're just thawed, ready to go for another meal. So freeze-dried potatoes, potato powder, instant mashed potatoes if you're going camping, all kinds of things. So I really like the versatility that I'm getting out of growing my own potatoes, the products that I'm able to have quick and ready on the shelf. And I would never go back to store-bought potatoes because they just aren't the same and won't last. So we've done tomatoes, potatoes, berries. Next, I'm going to go with, one second, I got my list. I can't believe it. I almost forgot this one. This really should have been at the top of the list for cost savings at the grocery store. And that is, guys, start growing your own fresh herbs. A lot of herbs are perennial. So you plant it once, you get it every single year. Herbs that, and I'm in Southeast Michigan, herbs that act like perennials for me. Parsley will often overwinter, or oregano, sage are the probably, and thyme. So those four I never have to plant again. I have them often. Sometimes I'll have to replant the parsley if we've had a super harsh winter, but for the most part, those overwinter really well. Dill reseeds itself, comes back every single year. I've never replanted dill. Now this season I'm going to plant some just to make sure I have a lot. But so those are definite, those are 5 right there that'll come back every single year. But herbs, I just looked up how I haven't bought herbs in a long time. So I was like, how much does it even cost for like one of those little, plastic seal pouches of basil, organic basil at the store? It's $4. $4 for basil. And you will get so much basil from one plant if you prune it properly or harvest from it properly. So herbs, and then beyond fresh eating, and eat them fresh all season long. They're just so wonderful. But then just simply, if you don't have any equipment for preserving, you will see through my kitchen hanging from strings all season long off the chandelier above the dining room table. Nothing but herbs drying. Freeze drying, of course, is a better choice. It's going to save you more flavor, more color, and things like that. But I have done it for years, just air drying them. And then store them, and you have your own seasoning mixes. You have your own just standard dried seasonings. And herbs will, so think about those primary things that you buy. And if you're somebody that doesn't know what herbs you even use because you use something like, say, an Italian seasoning blend or a poultry seasoning blend, look at the ingredients, see what's in there, and then break those herbs down and say, okay, I should start growing these things, especially if they're perennials and I'm going to get them every single year. So, major ones for us are marjoram, thyme, oregano, sage, parsley, and I would say I can do most things that I need with those general herbs. Now let's think of some other things that you use that you can use other things for, just to substitute other seasonings. So celery powder. If you're growing celery, what I do is I harvest all the green tops from the celery and I dehydrate those or freeze dry those and ground those into powder, and that's my celery powder. The little seeds off nasturtiums. If you know what a nasturtium is, it's like a flowering plant that's a very peppery, and you'll often see like red and yellow little flowers in salad. Those are probably nasturtiums. Nasturtium seed pods, if you dry those and grind them, it's an excellent pepper substitute. A different kind of pepper substitute would be to take your jalapenos or your more spicy peppers, chop those up, dehydrate those, and grind them to your desired preference. Like a lot of ours, we just use, really tiny diced and dehydrated, and that is our new pepper flakes. But you could also grind it and have more of a fine powder. So lots of ways to substitute your own seasonings. There's very little seasonings that we've bought other than like the specialty things for like barbecue rubs. But most of our seasonings are homegrown, other than salt. Of course, we don't have our own salt here. So that is a great one. And lastly, I think I'm going to leave my fifth pick. I'll stick with this because I had several options, but you can fill in the gap for if you're just using my thought process for your family. So what's the next most expensive thing that if I had to go buy this at the store when I need it, that I can get a lot of out of my garden? And that's peppers. So we use a lot of peppers, bell peppers, in our cooking. And I use a lot of bell peppers in my canning when I'm putting up those products like I mentioned, like whether it's salsas or spaghetti sauce or chili base, things like that. And a 2-pack of organic bell peppers at the store will run you no less than $4 for 2 bell peppers. It's crazy. And I can get no less than 20 bell peppers from a single plant. And again, if we break that down by $2 a seed packet and 25 seeds per packet and do that math, and I'm getting 20 bell peppers from that one plant, that one seed, it is ridiculous for me not to grow my own bell peppers. And fresh bell peppers store very, very well in the fridge. They'll store for a long time. But then also for preserving purposes, we, beyond just using them in our canned products, we prefer to dice, chop, slice, however we want to preserve them in multiple ways, and vacuum seal them in bags down in the freezer. And we've also freeze dried a lot. We'll toss those into soups or stews or jambalaya, things like that as needed. So that's probably my last pick. Again, in summary, if you're wanting to have the biggest bang for your buck in your garden, or the most versatility when it comes to not having waste of your own spend at the grocery store, what would I recommend looking into growing? Those are definite staples in our garden planning. And I know I mentioned berries, and not all berries necessarily are going to go in your garden, but it's critical for us to have that resource. And it saves us a ton of money. So thanks guys for coming with me. I hope you like these little mini series. I'll be putting out 2 more this week, and I hope it inspires you as you're doing your garden planning this year. Thanks guys, and I'll see you on the next video.